Hey, it's Jessi. Welcome everyone to the Everyday Philosopher. Today, I thought I'd try something a little bit different. And instead of talking about a philosopher, some philosophy ideas, I thought I'd talk about some of my ideas and some of my beliefs and some of my thoughts and feelings that I've learned in the 21 years of my life. Now, I'm not a reputable philosopher by any means, but I thought this would be a fun little opportunity just to share some of the things that I've learned throughout my life, as well as in a few years probably look back and laugh. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Now, this video is probably going to be on the longer side just because I have so much to say, so this is part 1 out of 2. Anyways, here are 21 things that I've learned in my life. In no particular order, number 1 is you need sleep. Now, I know I probably just lost a ton of subscribers by saying that, but it's true, you really need to sleep. When I was in high school, I went a whole week without sleeping for this little, experiment that I did, and it was just absolutely horrendous. It was awful. It was one of the worst things I've ever done in my life, and so I highly recommend it that you sleep, and I've learned my lesson from that. You need sleep, plain and simple. Alrighty, number 2 is that secrets are generally not good. Now, I know there's always exceptions to this, but as a general rule of thumb, secrets are not good. They more hurt people and they more hurt yourself. There's actually a quote that I really like that I read on a blog years ago, and I can't find the source, but the quote says, "We don't hide secrets, secrets hide us." And at least in my experience, I find that to be very, very true, because when I'm trying to hold a secret, I'm always thinking about concealing it and keeping it in, and it hides you, and that hiding hurts you, and it hurts yourself, and it hurts the community, and it's not good. Secrets, as a general rule, are not good. Alrighty, rolling on to number 3. Once you accept that you're human, life gets a lot easier. One of my favorite authors, John Steinbeck, super amazing American writer, don't read him though if you're the slightly bit depressed, has this really great quote where he says, "Once you accept that you're not perfect, you can be good." And I think that it's really, really easy to think of ourselves as above human, as if we're supposed to be perfect and we're supposed to, do everything perfectly and look perfectly and act perfectly, and it just doesn't work that way as a human. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to do dumb things, you're going to smell, you're going to want to eat. You can't be perfect and be a good human being at the same time. In fact, just being a human, you can't be perfect. So kind of once you get over yourself and accept that you're not perfect, you can actually start to grow, and you can forgive yourself, and you can actually live and become a decent human being. Alright, on to number 4. Number 4 is very short, sweet, and simple, and that is define your terms. Speak clearly. Number 5, beware of infinities. What I mean by this is infinities are anything that you can try to achieve in life, like success, fame, money, knowledge, things like that never really have an end. You're never going to finally pursue it, and much like an infinity. And so be careful of these things, especially success, because success is just like a sandcastle in a tide, and it's there one moment, but it's going to be gone the next. And so a lot of these things like infinity are very fickle and are not going to last forever. Alrighty, number 6, probably one of the most painful ones to learn and one of the hardest ones for me to learn in general, but also on this list, is that you can't help everybody in life. Not only is there just not enough you to go around, you don't have enough physical energy and strength to help everyone, but there's also going to be a lot of people in life that are going to need additional help and additional services, but if they don't want the help, then you can't help them. And you can always pray for them, but you can't help them, and it's really painful sometimes and really tragic, but that's just the way it is. Okay, number 7. Number 7 is that, unlike humans, mental illness doesn't discriminate. It affects everyone. It's regardless of gender, regardless of social status, socioeconomic status. It affects everyone. I've met so many people who are so cheerful and happy, life of the party, always wearing a smile on their face, and then they tell me that they're, suffering with really extreme anxiety or depression or have attempted suicide. And it goes to show that you can't tell who's affected. There is no type of person that gets affected by mental illness. Everyone does. And that's what makes it so scary, is that you can't tell. Mental health is a human problem. It affects us all. Number 8. Myself, and I think the entire world is in need of a good reminder, is that pleasure is not the same thing as true happiness. Pleasure has its place, but it's not the same thing as happiness. Okay, number 9. Time to get a little bit philosophical. I'm going to be kind of paraphrasing Viktor Frankl. He was a famous existential philosopher. Really love the man. If you have a chance to read him, please do. But his big thing, well, he was a psychiatrist in the Holocaust during World War II. He was Jewish, so he saw some really, really terrible stuff. He saw a lot of like the worst of humanity, and yet he had some of the like most beautiful writings about humanity and about the greatness of it. And he really believed that one of the key fundamentals of human life is the ability to choose, and it's the ability to choose whether or not you're having a good day or a bad day, whether things are, in your favor or not in your favor. And he saw that a lot of these people at the Nazi Jewish camp that were, had this sort of attitude and had this sort of positive outlook were able to survive even some of the most horrendous and most awful things. So what that translates out to in our life today is the power of choice and the power of just having a good attitude and keeping your mind open about things. And it's really this power of choice that, gives us so much freedom and so much ability in our lives. And you can do a lot with a good attitude, even if you're going through some tough stuff. It's just really frustrating that I'm not able to articulate this very well, and there's just so much to it, and there's so much to Viktor Frankl and existentialism and positive thinking, and it's more than positive thinking, but it's just really hard for me to articulate. So I will leave you with a quote from his book, Man's Search for Meaning, probably his most famous work, and it says, quote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." And that message, I think, is really, really powerful no matter who you are or what you're going through, is the fact that you have the power to choose so much of your life, and you don't even realize it. You have a choice. Number 10. Number 10 has 2 parts, hope and humor. Hope and humor, in my book, are both very essential and very crucial for surviving life, especially when it comes to surviving this tough stuff in life. They are like the 2 virtues of getting through a hard time in life. I think it's pretty, self-explanatory. Humor is really good for when you need a laugh. It lifts up your spirits and allows you to keep going. And hope, well, hope is hope, and it gives you something to look forward to in the future, and the promise that, whatever pain that you're suffering through right now will go away. So hope and humor are the 2 virtues of surviving life. Along with many other virtues, let's be real. There are a lot of other really great virtues, but hope and humor, those 2 have helped me out a lot. Number 11. Leisure is important. Leisure is like the backdrop of our culture, and it's just super important that we have, otherwise we become this like work obsessed, society, and we have really no life. Leisure gives us so much in it. Number 12 is another one of those ones that it's really hard to explain, and I think you have to personally experience it, and even then it's hard to really understand. But I am a firm believer that God is in the darkness. I know a lot of times when we think of good and evil, we think of good as white and black as, bad and like that, and evil and darkness. And I think that's true to some degree, but I also think that God is with us, in our darkest moments and in our darkest times. And that if you've ever experienced this like great feeling of desolation, and you know that like God is with you even though you're in this like desolate thing, so it seems kind of contradictory, I think then you'll know that like God is, with us even in like the darkest of times, and even when it feels like he's not there, God is present. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna have to call it quits for right here on this video, and I will see you in the continuation. Peace.